There's so many things we could talk about, but what I would love to ask you is there any words that could sum up your work?
Well, if I could sum it up, it would be about change and transformation.
Yes.
The idea is I've been fortunate enough to gather so much information in my life that as I approach the turning points, I always think about it, and as I've gotten older, I begin to look back, and I now qualify as an elder because I'm pushing 67, and I begin to think about it and go, well, the whole idea about an elder is to teach the younger generations the information that we've been fortunate enough to acquire, to master, and to pass on. So in passing on, the idea is complete disclosure, just teach them everything. At one time, I was very secretive about the training. As I've gotten older, it's about, well, I can't take it with me. I might as well just pass it on and allow people to benefit from this teaching. So I've written many different books, and so I'm doing one last series of seminars. There's about 16 seminars that cultivate and culminate up to a point of a doctorate of, it's like a Taoist mystical healing certification. But the goal is to pass along the information that people who are martial artists, who are into medicine, and who are into mystical studies can all corporately use the information to enhance their life.
So what next? Because you say there is still 16 gathering, and then what will you do? Retire?
I hope to retire.
Oh my gosh.
I love teaching, but it's not just the teaching, it's having the students learn the information and see them get so excited and then see their lives change because of the information.
Do you have a dream?
Well, the dream is to pass all the information on before I pass. I know that in all of our training, it's all about service, and as I've learned and progressed from one level to another, I've understood that it's about giving back, and so it truly is about helping the next generations embody this teaching. In China, sometimes the teaching is almost inaccessible to get the information, and especially now. So it's about, no, I was fortunate enough to be taught this information. If you're willing to do the work, it will really change and benefit you for such a higher level of spiritual evolution.
Where actually could we learn that tradition? Elsewhere or nowhere technique?
The last time I was in the Xi'an hospital and visiting friends, they went from a wing with 3 floors to 2 rooms to 1 room. And the students that I brought, they were doing all their treatments and stuff, and the doctor was all excited, but after the 3rd day, he chewed them out and said that the new government policy is just to put the patients to sleep. And so it's a shame, because the tradition for medical Qi Gong therapy in China is vast, and it's ancient, and it's extremely effective, but because of political agendas, it's been downsized so bad that unfortunately the only people teaching the system are the people from our schools. Right?
From your school, yeah. Do you think one day they will open up again those hospitals?
One could only hope, because the benefits, it was really wonderful. What we used to do is, when one doctor would begin to try a different treating modality, if it was successful, then we'd bring other patients. If that was successful, then they would send them down to the research department, and then they would categorize all the treatment modalities, send them to the other hospitals and the other clinics, and have them replicate those teaching patterns and treating patterns. And if they all became successful, they just put them in a book and then pass it on to the next upcoming doctors.
So what happened to all the doctors who taught you there, and all the medical staff? They're still there, but what are they doing? Are they in prison, or are they in other countries?
I don't know. All I know is that when I came back in 2002, I couldn't find hardly anybody, and some of my old friends weren't even talking about Qi Gong. They were, no, I don't. They were so scared that you have to honor and respect that. Because we have a different freedom than they do. So you respect the culture, respect the pressures that are put on them. And the idea is to honor everyone. So when they don't want to talk about it, you honor that, and then you just move on.
So you start writing your books since that moment, or when you were studying it?
It was funny. In 1993, I went to China for the first time. I'd been studying 18 years before I went to China. So in 1993, I began my internship, and that's when I started writing the books. And then from 93, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, then 2002, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a gather of culminating the information, and then from there making it accessible to everyone.
To everyone, okay.
Yeah, because after the 1999, it was hard to get the information. Most of the cancer clinics and all the Qi Gong hospitals and universities had closed down, and it completely downsized.
You know, today in France, in the French countries, we just discovered your books translated to French, the first version, but just 2 years ago. So the public, the French public, is not really aware about what is happening around all that. They entitled the book. You title it Chinese Energetic Medicine, but in France it's Qi Gong Médical. So my question is, was it your title, or did they translate it to Qi Gong Médical?
Okay, that's a good question. I've written 11 books on medical Qi Gong. The first one was a big book, okay? It was Chinese Medical Qi Gong Therapy, a comprehensive clinical text. From that book, I was lecturing at acupuncture colleges, and the kids had questions, so I'd say, I'd be answering their questions, and they'd be going, "Is that in your book?" I went, "No." They go, "Well, when you rewrite the book, could you add it?" Now, the book was this thick to begin with. So what happened was I began to break the book up into 5 other books. And those 5 books were the Chinese Medical Qi Gong Therapy, a comprehensive clinical text, Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4, and Volume 5. Those 5 books were translated into French. After those 5 books, I decided after 10 years that there was so much that the American acupuncture colleges haven't done with the medical Qi Gong therapy, that I decided, okay, I withheld information so that the acupuncture colleges would feel okay about working with Western medical doctors. I went, I don't care, I'm putting everything in the books. So then came the secret teachings of Chinese energetic medicine. With that, I put all the Taoist mystical teachings associated with the healings that I had removed from the
first Qi Gong medical textbooks.
2 sets. Yeah.
The first 2 sets. So the upgrade are filled with other information, though.
Oh yes. In other words, in this book, there's all kinds of there's about 500 pages in the new book that aren't in the old book. Okay, and so you get all kinds of like the mineral magic, the talismans.
Yes. The talismans, yes.
All of this wasn't in the other version. And it's because I decided that, all right, I'm going to put all the healing things that I've learned, both as a Taoist priest. I'm an abbot, a Taoist abbot. I was ordained as a priest in 2005 and as an abbot in 2008. And all the healing information and all the training I put in the books too. So what I wanted to pass along is everything. So that's why the new books came.
So why is it so different? Now you organize, you manage the last training, I can say that. This is your last gathering, last training. Why did you make it that way in terms of modules instead of the previous and training?
Because this way it gave me more freedom to teach you everything that I've learned. Remember the class today, I taught you the healing sounds?
Yes.
And I showed you how they segued into the breathing from the nose to the head, the
right.
third eye to
yes.
the head to the pole sternum, and then from there dissolving into infinite space. They don't teach that way. They just teach you the 6 healing sounds and that's it. So I brought the complete training, because if you only get part of it and you're missing out on the rest of the training, there's something missing. But now you get everything, so you can decide, at that point you can decide to do the complete training or just choose part of it. But at least you have the free choice and the free will. Where before, all you had was access to teachers who had only been given parts of these trainings.
And based on your experience with students, is there any profile, ideal profile or suggested profile? Because I think everyone could get into that training. But you know, I've seen it, there is a part of that people that is seeking something else. So is there any profile you could, well, establish in your training?
I think that sky is the limit. You can go as far as you want, but it's up to, we always talk about it, everything costs something. And so the idea is to allow people to go as far as they want or to stay where they want. But at least now they have an option.
Is it open to everyone?
It is open to everyone. But again, like everyone, it will cost. And we're not talking about finances. We're talking about sometimes your belief structure has to change. Sometimes you are at a point for you to go to the next level. You have to forgive and let go of attachments to these people, places, and things. Resolve that, let that go. See the value in the history that you have, and then understand why it was given to you and move to the next level. If not, you stay in a loop, reciting the same story over and over, and you don't progress beyond that. So all the information is there, but at that point, you have to be willing to grow beyond a certain level to the next level, and with that comes freedom, true freedom.
Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome.
I'm very grateful for this sharing with you.